Hello everybody. So here's the answer to the quiz on the 15th of May. This is a pretty straightforward histology picture of Pemphigus vulgaris. You can see here there is a clear-cut suprabasal blister. So this is a true suprabasal blister and you can see it's tombstoning here. Now these are festooned dermal papillae. You can see here this is festooning of dermal papillae when the dermal papillae project into the blister cavity. Now there are two types of festooning if you want to read about it. Festooning can be decorated or undecorated. Undecorated festooning applies to subepidermal blistering diseases like porphyria cutaneous tarda typically, where there is no tombstoning. But when there is a decoration of these acantholytic keratinocytes on top of these festooned dermal papillae, these are called decorated festoons. Okay, but this is still festooning. This is festooning of dermal papillae for sure. Now, some people have confused this with intraepidermal blistering. Intraepidermal refers to the level of blister being higher up in the epidermis. Rather than, subcorneal is right up near the stratum corneum. Intraepidermal is somewhere there. This is clearly suprabasal. Okay, there is some amount of intraepidermal blistering as well, but it's a typical suprabasal blister, and the region you need to look for is actually at the edge of the blister. And this is the edge of the blister I've focused here. Okay, this is the edge of the blister. Now comes to the labeling of the cells. Now you have to slightly magnify the image on your phone or on the computer. You have to download and magnify to actually see it. Now I can actually magnify it and show you. Let me see if I can. Just a second. Yeah, so you can see here, this is a lymphocyte. And what you can also see is here this is an acantholytic keratinocyte. Now this is not only acantholytic, it is dyskeratotic. When I say dyskeratotic, you can see the nucleus is pushed to one side and the cytoplasm is eosinophilic. So this is dyskeratosis. It almost looks like one of those chorons that you can see in Darier's disease, but this is not Darier's disease. Some amount of dyskeratosis can be there because of abnormal keratinization, purely simply because of the inflammation that is there within the epidermis. Now 3 and 4 are both actually eosinophils. You have to zoom in to see it. Let me just see if I can zoom in for you. You can see here that these are eosinophils. You can see binucleate cells with eosinophilic cytoplasm. This is similar in the other cross section. So these are eosinophils within the blister cavity. You can now also appreciate the dyskeratotic acantholytic keratinocyte here. Now all these are acantholytic keratinocytes. All these are acantholytic. This is again dyskeratotic here. So this is again a dyskeratotic keratinocyte. This is a dyskeratotic keratinocyte. So coming to the level of the blister, this is definitely a suprabasal blister. Okay, it's not subepidermal. Subepidermal would be underneath the epidermis. Subcorneal I told you, and intraepidermal I've told you. Now, what about number 5, by the way? Yeah, number 5 is actually a sweat duct. You can actually make out on low power. Number 5 is sweat duct going up. Next, number 6 again is a dyskeratotic acantholytic keratinocyte. So that is acantholytic keratinocyte. Same here. Number 7 is the same thing. I've just labeled different similar cells so that you know that what we're looking at. All these are acantholytic cells which have now floated into the blister cavity. These are not Zank cells. Zank cells are completely different. They should be viral cytopathic cells. This is an example of a Zank cell, which you can see a multinucleate cell. It's a viral cell usually seen in herpes. And you have this basophilic cytoplasm with an intensely hypertrophic dark nucleus without a nucleolus. Okay, so this is a Zank cell. So the answers to the question are: number 1 is a lymphocyte. Number 2 is I think I mentioned earlier. Number 2 is a dyskeratotic keratinocyte. I think it's an acantholytic cell. Dyskeratosis we have not mentioned here, but it's an acantholytic cell. So is number 6 and number 7. All of these are acantholytic cells. Okay. Then number I think there's no doubt in any of the others. We've answered all that. Number 5 is sweat duct. There are no neutrophils here. There probably are some neutrophils here and there, but I didn't actually mark them. Okay, so diskeratosis is present, acantholysis is present, dilapidated brick wall sign is not present, that is a sign of Haley. Row of tombstones is present, coilocytes are absent. Vacuolar interface change is actually present. If you see here, this is vacuolar interface change, this is vacuolar interface change, but doesn't mean anything in this context. It is not a vacuolar interface dermatitis per se, this is a blistering disease, but because the lymphocytes are attacking all the keratinocytes, there is some vacuolar interface change, but it does not mean anything. Festooning of dermal papillae is present. Spongiosis is present as well. If you look at the keratinocytes here, you can clearly see the desmosomes in between the keratinocytes. So there is amount of spongiosis because with so much inflammation, even though this is not a spongiotic blister, it's an acantholytic blister, but you will see some amount of spongiosis surely, purely due to the amount of inflammation here. There are some extravasate RBC as well here, you can see. Alright, so the diagnosis, final diagnosis, Pemphigus vulgaris, Pemphigus foliaceus, you see a superficial blister. Darius, well, you may actually think about Darius, but you don't see this tombstoning that you see in Pemphigus vulgaris in Darius. Govas, you may sometimes see a Pemphigus vulgaris type of histology, but not Darius. Erythema multiforme, you see necrosis of the keratinocytes with vacuolar interface change. There is no necrosis here. Bullous pemphigoid is a subepidermal blister. Herpes simplex, you do see Zang cells. Bullous ellie is a subepidermal blister. Alright, so I hope you enjoy the quiz. Well done, all those who participated.